Hello everyone, welcome back. Today in this tutorial I am trying to explaining about interesting fact about TreeSet. So before that, if you did not subscribe ProgrammingKT channel, subscribe ProgrammingKT channel, then you will never miss notifications from ProgrammingKT. Now let me try to explain about interesting fact about TreeSet. So here I am trying to create integer TreeSet first, next character TreeSet, float tree set and string tree set. So I am trying to create that corresponding tree set. I am trying to add the data inside that corresponding tree set. Now let me try to run. So I got the output, right? For each corresponding tree set I am getting the output. There is nothing special here. Next I have my own custom class, I mean student class, with two attributes like student id, name, default constructor, parameterized constructor corresponding to string. Now let me try to create object for student class and add into tree set. Observe what it will happen. So here tree set of, now I am trying to add all student objects which I created here, student class. So student tree set, new tree set. Now let me try to add student objects inside this tree set. I mean student tree set. So add new student parameterized constructor. I am trying to add one corresponding student name like one more student. I am trying to add student ID is 3 and one more student I am trying to add 2. So if I can run, what it will happen, let me observe. So I got the exception, right? This is the interesting fact. So previously when I'm trying to add a float, string, I mean integer, character, I did not get any exception. But when I'm trying to add student object inside the tree set, I got the exception. I mean class cast exception. So let me explain. I mean, let me try to write one more example. Then you can. Then I will explain why we are getting this exception. So one more. Let me try to copy that class. So one more class I have along with student product. Let me try to add product object inside the tree set. Let me try to create one more tree set with product. I mean here product class have product ID, name along with parameterized constructor, default constructor. Now let me try to add product objects. So here instead of student, product tree set. So if I can add product inside that tree set, let me try to, so inside the tree set I am trying to add product dot add new product of parameterized constructor. I am trying to use some laptop, and one more product I am trying to add keyboard, and one more thing is I am trying to add monitor. So these three objects I am trying to add. Now I am trying to print that object. I mean product tree set. So if I can run, I did not get, I mean exception. Previously I got exception. Now let me try to uncomment again. So even though I did not print, but at the time of adding itself, I am getting class cast exception. So did you know why? This is the interesting fact about TreeSet. So when you are trying to add any object inside a TreeSet, that corresponding object class, I mean here product, right? Product object here I am trying to add inside TreeSet. So product class must and should implements comparable. That's why here product, I mean with product class I did not get any compilation error. Why? Because here in product class I already implements comparable. So in student class I did not implement comparable. That's why I am getting class cast exception. So moreover that, why I am not getting class cast exception for remaining, right? I mean string, float, character, integer. If you can ask, all wrapper classes implements comparable. And moreover that string class implements comparable, string buffer implements comparable, string builder also implements comparable. That's why we won't get any exception, I mean class cast exception. Here you are seeing, right, comparable. String class implements comparable, and if we can observe remaining two also, string builder or string buffer also. So let me open string buffer. So string buffer also implements comparable. Even though if you are trying to add string buffer objects, you won't get any class cast exception. So and moreover that, let me open string builder. So string builder also implements comparable. If you are trying to add tree set, I mean string builder objects into I mean tree set, you won't get any class cast exception. Why? Because all those classes implements comparable. Why? Because if you can observe that, I mean in last video at the time of explaining set interface, I mean in under that tree set I wrote some rules, right? I mean some important points. So tree set follows elements are sorted in their natural sorting order. So to, I mean to make that elements are in default natural sorting order, so we must and should implement comparable for each corresponding class. If you are trying to add any class into tree set, that class must and should implement comparable. So otherwise you will get class cast exception. So here I got class cast exception for student class, right? If I can implement comparable, I won't get any class cast exception. Let me show you that. So comparable of class type is student. Next I am trying to implement that method. What is the method present inside comparable? Compare to. So we need to override that compare to. So depending on which attribute, if you are trying to sort, here we have two attributes, right? In real time more than two also there. Depending on your requirement, based on which attribute, if you want to sort, you can implement that corresponding logic here. So here I want to implement sorting based on id. So in that case, so here I can consider student. So this to access, how we can access current, I mean instance variable by using current class instance variable by using this, right? This dot sid dot compare to. So this compare to method is from which class? Here this is the integer, right? Integer class already implements comparable. That's why I am trying to access that compare to method. Next one is s dot sid. So current object here, this is the local variable, this is the instance variable, right? S dot sid. So sid integer. Now I won't get any this exception, class cast exception. Now let me try to run. So before that I didn't, I mean let me try to uncomment it. So now let me try to run. So I am not getting any compilation, I mean exception, right? Why? Because I implemented comparable interface. That's why I am not getting any class cast exception at the time of adding objects into tree set. Now let me try to print that student tree set as well. Student tree set. Now let me try to run it. So make a separator here. So for student tree set and one more tree set, it is product, right? Product and student. So I got the all, I mean here I added zigzag, right? 1 3 2, but I got the result in 1 2 3. Why? Because I implemented comparable interface, my sorting order based on student id. That's why I got 1 2 3. Here also I implemented product id, I think comparison, I mean yeah, product id. So if you want based on your product name, let me try to change here. So this dot name, product name, and here also I am trying to I mean trying to change product name. Now let me try to observe. Now if I can run, it will sort depending on their, product name. Now ascending order will be K L M. I am expecting. Let me try to run. So keyboard L M. So now sorting is based on product name. For student, sorting based on student id. So this is about interesting fact. So final conclusion is, when you are trying to add any object into tree set, that corresponding class must and should implements comparable, otherwise you will get class cast exception. Enough. So if you like the content, and moreover that, if you learned something new from this video, so hit on like button and subscribe programming kt. Thanks for watching.